Sunday mornings, bright and early in our time slots, new time slots. Good morning and welcome to Women in Sport Africa, a show that celebrates and shines the spotlight on women that have shaped the sporting landscape on the continent and of course abroad. And our guest today has done no different. Her name is Leandra Smeda. She is a former Banyana-Banyana international and she's got 100 caps for the national side. She's traveled from Sweden, Portugal, Spain, playing the beautiful game. But let me not give it all away. Stay tuned as we get to know our guest, Leandra. It is such an honor to be joined. I feel like I need to come with an order of Ikamanga or something to say this is an honor to be sitting across you, Leandra. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with the year that was 2025. We're going to go back to the childhood, but I just want to start with the most recent events, winning that 2025 Hollywood Bet Super League Player of the Year and, of course, the Golden Boots. How did that feel, considering that it was your first season back with TS Galaxy Queens?
It felt really good. I didn't expect to win the one award, but the top goal scorer, it was obvious.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, it was really exciting. I was very happy with the achievement. It was my first full season back home after spending some time abroad, and I think it was easy for me to settle into the league and also the team because I got to spend time also with my former teammates from the national team, like Vivo, Busi, Refilwe. So it was a fun season for me personally.
Congratulations. I think it was, you know, awards we'll obviously celebrate, but we'll celebrate particularly when it's someone that we identify with and we've known for so long to play with Banyana-Banyana. So it was also nice to actually see you back home and make such an impact for TS Galaxy. But I quickly want to go back to your early childhood back in the Western Cape and Veldrift. How was it like growing up? Maybe set the scene for what home looked like.
Yeah, I grew up in a very small town. It's known for like a fishing town. So growing up, I grew up with two brothers. I don't have any sisters. And then I started playing football with my older brother because the first sport I actually played was netball because my mom played netball.
Yes.
So when I started primary school, I could already play the sport. I knew all the rules because he trained me. So growing up, also my dad's played rugby and football. So I would go to the field with him and watch him play football. And I think that's where the love for it started. But with playing the game actually in the street was with my brothers. They needed a football ball and I had a netball ball. So I negotiated with them, I'll give you my ball if you allow me to play. So that's how it started, yeah. And then I played throughout primary school, but we really didn't have like a female team. So I was playing with the boys. And then I had a teacher in primary school that would take me to trials like outside of my hometown.
Yeah.
And then with him, I had to play cricket for him for the boys team. And so I was like, okay, I will play and then you take me for trials. So I think that's also how I got recognition. So going for the trials, I would make the regional team or the SA school team for the Team Western Cape.
Yeah.
And I think that also helped me with developing.
So the biggest negotiation I can imagine is having to tell your mom that, listen, I love netball, I love you, but I think I'm going to commit to this side. How did she receive that?
She was pretty open to it because in primary school, I played cricket and then football and netball. And then when I got to high school, I still continued with netball. But then when I went to varsity, then I left netball completely and only focused on football because I got a bursary to play football and then study as well. But she was pretty open to it and happy to support me with the sport that I've chosen to pursue.
So outside of school, what was that first team that you played for? Was it Cape Town Roses or was there one prior that?
Before that, it was the team in my hometown, Atlantic Rovers Football Club. Then when I left home to go and study further, then I played for obviously the school team, CPUT, and then UWC, So I played for CBUT in the University League, and then for UWC in the Cecil League at the time.
Yes.
And then from UWC, I went to Cape Town Roses because something happened at UWC. The coach left, and then the team got disbanded. And then I went to Cape Town Roses, and yeah, from Cape Town Roses there was Ambassadors Ladies.
Yes.
And then, then I went back to UWC eventually.
So when are you like, okay, this now feels like I'm formally a football player? Because still to this day, the women's game is not professionalized. But of course, then, I mean, you're getting your kids, you're playing every other day, every other weekend. Which team would you say made you feel like, yes, I'm a footballer?
I think it was when I signed my first pro contract, because I left the UWC to go to Gintra in Lithuania. It was a short-term deal because it was for the UEFA Champions League.
Yes.
And then when I got there, obviously I got exposed to a whole new environment. And then that's when I knew, okay, now I'm a professional, because back at UWC, you had to juggle studies and football. And then once I finished my studies, I went to work full-time as a food technologist, and then still playing on the other side. So when I went abroad, it was just football. I didn't have to get an extra job. So I think at that moment, I realized, no, I'm a pro now.
How do you feel though then when you played for so long, and to this day, there's still a lot of your colleagues in the Hollywood Bet Super League that still have to work full-time jobs and juggle as you did all the way back then?
Yeah, it's difficult because there will come times where your employer will be like, hey, you need to choose where you want to go. But I think as long as you find that balance to juggle both, but then it's not easy. You would prefer football players just to focus on football instead of having to work 2 or 3 other jobs.
Yeah.
Because I think also if we were to have a fully professional league, I think the quality that you will see in games would be so much better, because you'll have players focusing just on football and not having to worry about going to work here and there, because you will live an athlete lifestyle where you are fully rested. You perform at the highest level, whereby now it's because you come from work, you still have to go to train. Maybe you have to go and work in the morning before the game.
Sure.
And then you're tired already when you get to the game. So I think it's difficult for female players in SA especially.
2025 Hollywood Bet Super League Player of the Year, Leandra Smeda, is our guest today. And when we come back, we'll get to know her a little bit more before that moment where she became the first South African woman to score in the UEFA Women's Champions League. So coming up on Wiser after the break. Welcome back to Women in Sport Africa with myself, Leandra Smeda, and my guest today is Banyana-Banyana veteran. I'd love to call her Leandra Smeda. Leandra, as we've spoken about previously, is that there are not really any football structures when it comes to young girls getting into the game. You know, the typical story is I played with my brothers, or I played with boys in the streets. So having to navigate that, how did it feel as a girl child to have to say, okay, it's fine, I'll give you my ball, if I can play with you guys, you know, and then obviously what you had to do for the cricket as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't have an issue with it at the time because I got to play a sport that I love.
Yeah.
But I think also for a lot of girls, they get into situations whereby people now refer to them as tomboys because you're always around boys.
Yes.
But it's not the case. It's just that it's easier to access playing with boys growing up. But I think now there's more structures now in place, even though it's not enough or like proper compared to like European countries.
Yes.
But I think now they are trying to put development structures in place for young girls, of which we didn't really have back then, and we had to do the negotiation with our brothers or our
your coaches.
the coaches and stuff. But yeah, I think, but that also helped me, I think, growing up playing with boys because they are obviously stronger, faster. So you get to adapt quicker to the game, so and develop also at a faster rate, I think. But yeah, I think now it's a bit better for young girls, and it's good that there are development structures being put in place.
Yeah.
But I think we also need more academies for girls, so we can start developing them from a young age, so they can go abroad at a young age and not at like age 28 when I went abroad. So I only had like a short time to play professional football. So I think that will also help women's football in SA grow, and also help with the national team when we get players to go abroad at a younger age.
So at the time, are there any specific players that you're looking up to? Is it still just guys that are players, or were there any female footballers that you saw and looked up to?
Growing up, at first it was mostly male players. Ronaldo, the one from Brazil.
The real Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I call him the real Ronaldo.
And Rivaldo, that generation of the Brazilian players. But the first female player I like idolized is Marta, and she's still playing until this day. I think she's 40 years old now. She's playing in the US, which is one of the tougher leagues, women leagues, and yeah, she's the female player that I idolized.
So when you look at the impact that the teams that you played for, your Cape Town Roses as well as UWC, how did they shape you as a footballer to prepare you when you go to Lithuania?
I think my time at UWC and Cape Town Roses, it really helped me. At UWC, I played with a different group of players compared to the players I had at Cape Town Roses. I think also it helped me with experiencing different cultures as well, because I was traveling to Guguletu on my own, and people were like, you're not scared? I'm like, no, I'm not scared. Because I'm always open to interacting with different cultures. So I think that helped me also in having to experience a different style of play at Cape Town Roses. So I think it helped also, made me more versatile as a player, having to adapt to different systems and different styles of play. So when I got to Kintra, even in Sweden, where you find the style of play in Sweden compared to Spain is different.
Yeah.
Where in Sweden they are more direct, and then in Spain they're very tactical. So I think having played with the different teams here back home, it helped me to prepare and adapt in the leagues that I went to play in abroad.
But of course, then there's that glaring difference of, okay, at home, we're still way at the back or behind in terms of the skills, in terms of the resources even, that you got to see when you get to Lithuania.
Yes, there was a big difference when I got to Lithuania. It was also a small town that I stayed in, but then the treatment that I got there, it was more professional compared to what I was used to back home. The training was more intense, whereby at home you would find maybe we would train 3 times a week, and there you were training daily, and then you have match day, and then you have a rest day, and then it's the same cycle every day. But it was a good experience, and I think the short time I had in Kintra prepared me for the next move that came.
So when does the first national call-up come? At which point?
Mine came in 2010. At the previous year, it was the USA Games in Mahikeng. And then that's where I got scouted, at the university games. And then the following year, I got the call-up to go and play the Cyprus Cup. It was still Coach Makalakalane at the time. And then from there, I think I just took off until I didn't get to call up anymore.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I just want to talk about that first day, because I mean, I think wearing the green and gold of the country is every child's dream, particularly if you're in sports. How did it feel to eventually get and wear that jersey?
For me, growing up, when I started playing, I didn't have that dream of, oh, I want to play for the national team, because I think at the time there wasn't a lot of exposure for us to see the women's team. Mm-hmm. They were not a lot in the media, so I didn't really have that dream.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but when I got older and I got to university, you obviously now see more opportunities and you see the players. So like my first day in camp, I was a bit nervous because the coach was busy telling us, oh, they're going to test the size of your foot, they're going to test this and that and that. And then I'm like, so many tests. But then it was easy because the senior players in the squad at the time.
Who are the senior players at the time?
At the time it was Janine, Mpumi, Kalele, Amanda Dlamini.
Okay.
So they were very welcoming and helped us to settle into the team. And I think it was just the first day that was a bit nerve-wracking.
Different with all the tests.
Yeah, it became better. Even Shorty, I think she was the vice captain at the time. So yeah, they helped us to.
So you got there to good hands.
Yeah.
Our guest today is Leandra Smeda, and we're just going down memory lane and getting to know her better and her journey that got her to be one of the elite players that have 100 national caps for the senior women's football team. After the break, we continue with our guest. Welcome back to Wiser, the show that puts the spotlight and celebrates women in sport across the continent. And our guest has traveled globally. In fact, off air, we were just speaking about your travels from Portugal to Spain, Lithuania. We've spoken about Sweden as well. And just that around the time of maybe 2012 up until 2018, that's where you did majority of the travel. How was that for you? And how do you describe that period in your life?
For me, it was fun, getting to see different countries, meeting different people, learning new cultures. It was fun, even though it gets tiring at some point,
yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Also, the weather. It was my first time experiencing snow in Denmark, which was fun. And then but it's cold. Sweden gets cold. I think my first training session in Sweden, I was training, I didn't have gloves, nothing. And then the assistant coach, he came up to me and then he gave me his gloves because he could see that I was freezing. But yeah, it was a good experience getting to see all the different cities and making friends in all these cities. Yeah, it's been fun.
And how would you say playing for those teams in those different countries in Europe shaped your performances for the national team?
Yeah, I think it really helped me grow as a player. I think when I went to Sweden, I remember there was a camp that we had. It was before the World Cup even. And then I remember we were training, and then we were doing like a short 11v11. And then I ended up scoring a goal. And then one of my teammates came to me and then she was like, now you can see that you play overseas.
There's a difference.
Yeah. So I think going to the different leagues, it really helped me grow as a player and develop as well. And I think also coming back home, I think that also helped me with my performances last season. So yeah, I think it did me good going abroad.
Because you first came back and you went to UWC again before signing with TS Galaxy Queens. How was that return, going back to where it all started at UWC?
Yeah, because it was from Portugal. I got an injury. I ruptured my Achilles tendon. So when I went back to UWC, I was still not finished with my rehab yet. So they said I can come and complete my rehab there. And I mean, UWC will always be home. I played most of my footballing years for them. And I think it was good for me to do the rehab there. And then I got some game time towards the end of the season. But I would have loved to stay on because the following year I was going to play for like a full season.
Yeah.
But then I got an offer from Spain and then I went back to Europe until I eventually returned to sign for TS Galaxy.
So I want to talk about just how it felt for you or how you describe it in your life to have the luxury or the talent even to be spotted by these European teams and they just keep calling you. I mean, not every player can say that I've done all of these countries that we've mentioned. To come back with an injury, you play for the rest of the season and then you get another offer overseas.
Yeah, I think for me, my versatility, it helped a lot because I think a lot of clubs now look for players that can play more than one position. So I think that helped me also. And even with the national team back then, I would play different positions. And I think maybe that's what helped me stay in the system for so long. But yeah, I think just being more versatile, but it helped me with getting signed by these clubs. But I think also just staying disciplined also, taking care of my body and trying to always improve. And I think clubs also love players that are disciplined and don't bring them problems.
Yes.
So I think, that also helped.
It seems to be something common where, because we had Andile Dlamini as well as a guest, and I didn't know until she came as a guest that she started as a striker before she was moved to goalkeeping. And now we know her as this Banyana-Banyana goalkeeper that started as a striker. Is that something that's common for the women's game? Because yes, maybe when boys are playing, they will play different positions, but you'd find that if they're a striker, they've been a striker. You know, it's rare that they are able to be as versatile as female footballers.
Yeah, I think you have a few players in the women's game that are really versatile. And I also feel like because we don't have really good development structures in place yet, it takes us a bit longer to develop, and then you find more of the senior players will be those players that are usually more versatile because we've played for so long, so we can play different positions.
Yeah.
Whereas with most of the youngsters, they will start out playing the one position and then they stick to that position for some few years. But I think, with boys, it's different. They are all-rounders. But there are a few female players where you'll find it, oh no, I started as a striker, now I'm a defender.
Yes.
Like Andile, striker, now she's a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I think it takes also time for us to find our perfect position or a position that we've mastered,
So with your experience and the number of years, the number of teams that you've played for, when you compare then versus now, would you say that you're happy with the progress that women's football is making in the country, particularly because you've recently gone back to Europe when you went to Spain, and then you came back again now playing for TS Galaxy? How would you then describe, maybe to someone in Europe, if they were to say, how's the footballing scene for women in South Africa right now in comparison to back then when you started playing?
I think now compared to back then, it has grown. We have a lot more media coverage. Also, the teams, in terms of their quality, it has stepped up a level. I know a lot of teams are trying to treat their players more professional by also paying them, even if it's just a stipend. Back then, we didn't receive a cent. So there's been a lot of growth in the game compared to back then. But in general, I feel like we still lack, we're still a bit behind compared to the rest of the world. Because especially in terms of intensity and the pace of our league here, when you compare to the top level leagues or even their first or second division, you would be like, okay, our league compared to Liga F in Spain,
Yes.
there's a big difference. So maybe you would say, okay, the first division in our league could be at the same level, but not the top league. So I think we still lack a bit, but there is growth. Even though it's slow, there is growth. So yeah, I'm happy with the league growing.
We're definitely seeing the growth when it comes to the women's game, and thanks to the likes of Leandra Smeda that have walked the distance so that we're able to get to today. And so far, for the first parts with Leandra, we spoke about her early life and her travels that have seen her play across Europe. When we come back next week, we get to speak about the currents, where she came back to TS Galaxy Queens, won in her first season a Golden Boot Award and the Player of the Year at the Hollywood Bet Super League Awards last year in December. So that's coming up next week. Join us again on SABC2 at 9 o'clock on Sunday.